Welcome to Mudimo Awaz, a podcast presented by Musico. I'm your host Mohua. On this podcast, we will talk to dreamers, unsung heroes who have broken the rules as they swam against the current and renewed their vows to themselves as individuals. The believers who've been crazy to start ventures that have made a difference to society and the lives they've touched with their magnanimity and knowledge. As for me, I was in the communications business in a leadership role and also been a homemaker. The slow death of my self-confidence that went unnoticed over the years, when self-worth was based on the validation I sought from others. Quoting the author L.F. Shafaq, do not go with the flow, be the flow. Hi, on this episode we have Bharat Gupta, who wears many hats. One of a fashion and creative consultant, a stylist to the best designers in India. He started his career as a performing artist, went on to pursue PR, and is still restless. He wants to learn and keep unlearning. Bharat will tell us about his experience in the emerging new India that is watching the shift in careers and the acceptance ratio of unconventional professionals who are rocking the show in the new digital India. Welcome, Bharat.
Thank you so much. What a lovely introduction. I loved the learning and unlearning part. I think that's what our journey is all about. And thank you for having me, Mohua.
So tell me, Bharat, let's just start with the first question. What is the perfect look for you as a stylist?
I think minimalism. I think the best look on a person is comfort and a reflection of their personality. I think that supersedes any form of clothing or accessories.
But tell me something, Bharat. I mean, you know what? Minimalism is something that I don't know in India how matured we are as a fashion, industry where minimalism really works, with mass India. We are still yet to discover the beauty of being, less is more.
Right.
So do you find that challenging when you work across genres of fashion brands and the rest of the places to explain your ethos for styling a person?
So, what happens is that each individual or each brand or each designer sort of has their own aesthetic. The idea is to marry their personality to what they wear and what their outside looks like on the inside. When you talk about minimalism, the most important thing is to understand that sometimes you don't need to show what you have in terms of clothes, in terms of accessories, and even bank balance. We live in a country where, if we're very rich, it becomes a thing to show. Unfortunately, and that extends to even celebrations, celebrations are a part of whether it's festivals or whether it's weddings. We're very culturally driven. In that sense, yes, it works. In terms of celebrations, yes, it works. You need to have the mata patti, the mang tikka, the mehndi, the bangles, the rings, the lehenga. But on an everyday basis, when you see people on the road, we're innately very basic. When you see a common Indian man, they're very simply dressed in a shirt and a pair of trousers and just shoes. There's no hoo-ha about it. Even the Indian woman is in a basic sari dhoti or a salwar kameez. The main contradiction or the main problem arises of what to when, where, and for what. I think that's where a stylist sort of steps in and helps clarify that for people.
But fashion really, honestly, Bharat, is always for the people who have more. I mean, people on the streets are really not driven by fashion trends, are not driven by what styling would be. So I would imagine that, do you get leeway with designers when you work with, to do your own look? Because I love minimalism too. I mean, I'm a person who's very, very sober when it comes to colors that I have on me. And I find it too garish if I wear. I don't look nice, but I would imagine that, Bharat, you would not have that complete freedom to work with really big designers because they have a look that's set and you have to follow that. Is that a challenge for you?
Yes, it is a challenge in the sense of it's a challenge for me with myself because it's not right for me also at all ends to sort of impose my thought process because eventually the designer is the creator. I have to take that vision and further that vision to something which is more creatively appealing for the audiences. So when it comes to working with designers, then there are multiple conversations in terms of how to present their collection. If they want to do something which is very, very outlandish and out there, then it the same can be done in a very aesthetic way. It Minimalism does not always mean that you wear less, or you wear only solid colors, or you wear no accessories. Minimalism also sort of extends to the fact that you understand the correct balance between the colors, the prints, the fabric, the accessories, the hair, the makeup, the overall look, that it has just the right impact. And no one walks out watching that designer's collection or that show saying that this was too much for me.
So tell me, Bharat, what would be your signature look for, say, someone like Rekha? I find her all the time with Kanjivaram and so much of jewelry on her. And I think that, you know what, maybe if she wore less, she would look extremely attractive. What would be the signature look that you would give somebody who's as iconic as Rekha from the Hindi film industry? Let's hear you on that.
So Mahua, like we're living in the millennial world where social media sort of rules the roost, and we don't have patience for anything. We sort of scroll through all the pictures with little memory of anything we saw 5 seconds back.
Yes.
Even in that sort of a time, if you see someone wearing a Kanjivaram sari, or you see someone with full red lips, the first thing that comes to your mind is Rekha ji. So I think her look is iconic. Like you said, I think she's legendary in the way she's carried herself. And even years and decades of her being in the industry and carrying on a signature style, she still sort of is timeless in that sense. I feel she does complete justice to what she looks like. There are certain people, very few at that, who ideally don't even require a stylist. And I think Rekha ji is one of them, who very effortlessly has created a trademark look for herself. And I think the jewelry, the hair, her ada, her saris, everything just comes together so well. And I think she is the perfect example of someone who doesn't follow just fashion or fashion trends, but has a very strong sense of style and aesthetic for herself.
Yes, of course, she's beautiful. But if you were to give a signature look to any one Indian actress that you feel is iconic, what would Bharat's look be?
Um, I like, again, minimalism, casual. I would just give them an oversized shirt blouse with probably high waist pants or boyfriend jeans. With my look, in my mind, my fashion sense is very high street New York in that sense. So with like pumps or tie up heels, with just maybe like a crossbody bag or just like a casual backpack, and messy tonged hair with really large sunglasses and a coffee mug in their hand. That's it.
I can almost imagine Rekha in that, and I think she will look fabulous.
Yeah.
In a white shirt that's oversized,
Yeah.
a pair of black pants, and her hair tied up with red lipstick,
Yeah.
and a pair of really large glasses, and a nice backpack. Don't you think so?
Oh, probably a bit of a push for her, but
Yes.
it'll be interesting to see her.
Yes, I think she'll look gorgeous.
Yeah.
It'll be different. But okay, now coming back to, with the lockdown and the fashion industry that's been hit, there are tons of stylists who have lost jobs because, you know what, nobody is really talking fashion any longer because people are not dressing up, people are not going out, people are not meeting too much, and everybody's very paranoid. How do you view, this industry really recovering from this huge pandemic? I mean, pandemics. Do you think that this will change by next year, and if it changes, what are the changes that you feel that the fashion industry would go through, and what would happen to stylists? I mean, are jobs being, for a stylist, is it really a scary phase right now, or it's the same like before?
Right. So, obviously, this pandemic has shaken up not only fashion, but the entire world. But, fashion is known to adapt itself. to changes. Fashion in itself means change, changing trends. Post the pandemic, during the pandemic, after the pandemic, people may get accustomed to eating at home and not eating out. People may get accustomed to not shaking hands but just doing namaste. But one thing people are always going to do is wear clothes, whether they're inside or outside. So sooner or later, that is again going to become a primary function, not only in terms of style, but also in terms of just basic functionality and human existence. Now, fashion has already adapted itself. If you've seen in the last couple of months, what used to be fashion weeks and fashion shows that were physically attended and models used to walk shows, it's taken the format of virtual fashion shows. So, whether it's the FDCI India Couture Week or Lotus Makeup India Fashion Week or Lakme Fashion Week, they've all sort of adapted themselves to the new ways. And they've come up with very interesting shows where they're almost like fashion films that have a storyline as well to sort of define the collection of the designer. Stylists in particular, obviously, some have gotten back on their feet. Commercial shoots have started. Designers are shooting their lookbooks. Virtual fashion shows are happening. Maybe the plethora of opportunities or the amount of work may not be as much as it was, but they're finding their footing again. It will take time. Their budgets may be hit. It will take time for them to sort of actively get back into top gear like they were pre-pandemic. But I think we as humans live by hope, and I think it will eventually sort of maybe take a more aware look. Sometimes these things happen where you slow down for a reason, and I think there was a sense of awareness that everyone required. Anything that is an advantage also has a side effect or disadvantages. We've all obviously heard of climate change. We've obviously heard of the impact that fashion has had on climate change in terms of wasteful production. So I think production houses, brands, fast fashion brands, especially designers, are going to get more aware of that. And hopefully, fashion will take a more sustainable role. And this has been a dialogue running for so long. Maybe and hopefully, it's going to take a stronger shape in the post pandemic phase.
Sustainable is a very expensive term because, the minute you're creating sustainable clothing, you are, your production costs are way more higher. And in a country like India, I don't know if everybody really can afford because, people who dress up and who, in India today, it's so amazing that we have Marks and Spencer, you have Lifestyle that has got so many brands. And, the average Indian who may not be able to spend maybe 10,000 rupees or 7,000 rupees on a dress would be very comfortable buying at 2,000, 2,500. And do you see a change there? Do you think those brands would also probably start talking sustainable, or it would again get back to the way it was from before? I mean, what is your feeling about that?
So, obviously, when it's designers who started stepping into the sustainability format, the prices are higher. But I think with time, when more and more players enter the market, that's how just economics basically works. That, when the competition increases, when there are more players in the market, the cost and the pricing will also come down. That is primarily what happened in fast fashion also, because they started mass producing it and supply sort of created its own demand, and therefore the price also came down. Sustainability as a narrative, obviously one is the using pure fabrics and using
Which is expensive,
which is,
right?
yes, but it also, sustainability also extends its definition to the environment that the karigars and the weavers and the workers work under. It also means that that they're given good living conditions, that they work proper hours in a day, and that they're not overworked. So I think that yes, currently it is expensive. Yes, there are very few designers who are doing it. The sustainable fashion wing that has sort of come up in India also has a very, very synchronized design and aesthetic in that sense, which may not resonate with everyone. So I think in terms of designing also, sustainability needs to expand itself. Like designers like Narendra Kumar and Akshat Bansal of Bologna. They've also, used waste plastic to make, athleisure or streetwear. So, once sustainability sort of comes into these forms of clothing as well, the reach is going to increase. And H&M also has an entire section where they use wasteful plastics for their fabric generation and then their outfits. So I think it's a process that started. It is costly as of now, but I feel the more we move towards it, the prices will come down. And I think also, what is the layoff of the cost that we ruin our environment and that we destroy the planet? So when there's going to be no life, what is the use of making expensive clothes? So I think, and also then move from sustainability towards slow fashion, right? Get five multi-purpose pieces that you can mix and match and repeat, rather than getting 20 fast fashion pieces that are going to fade, that the quality is going to diminish, that are going to shrink when you wash them, and you wear them once and then you never repeat them again. So I think it needs to be sort of like a combination of slowing down your fashion requirements and incorporating sustainable fashion within your wardrobe.
So tell me, what is it that you love being? What you like dressing up? What kind of clothes are you best in? Are you the white shirt, blue denim man, or are you the guy who wears, color on yourself?
Oversized. I think I like everything oversized. I have a lot of outerwear. I love.
You're obviously very slim. That's why you like oversize.
I'm not very slim anymore, but I think I hide it very smartly. I like loose pants. I like oversized t-shirts. I like a lot of layers, trench jackets, outerwear. So also for me, it helps a lot in terms of utility, because you'll always find I'm at home right now, and some of my stuff came back home, and all pockets of my jeans, pants, jackets, all of them, you'll find safety pins or clamps or stuff like that. So my mom's like, why do you keep putting them? So I was like, it's for me, large clothes mean large pockets where I can just store everything whenever I'm at a shoot.
Utility.
Yeah, so whenever I'm at a shoot, it's just so much more convenient. So I don't have to remember that I need to carry clamps and safety pins and a small sewing kit. There's a pretty good chance it's in all my pockets.
So where is home?
Currently, I'm originally from Delhi. So
Okay.
I stay in Gurgaon. I'm here. I've been in Bombay for the last 11, 12 years. But in the current scenario, I'm home.
So tell me, in Delhi and in Bombay, between the two places for fashion, which do you think is a more active market and which is more accepting of new designers, sustainable products? From your experience, which city would you give? That they sustainable designers have a better chance of selling their their designs at a premium pricing. So because in Delhi, I would imagine there's a lot of sequins, and there's a lot of Swarovski, and there's a lot of, because I think the culture there is of dressing up really, really in bright, beautiful clothes. I think I would imagine that Bombay is a little different. Is that true?
So I would say that in terms of fashion, Delhi is definitely a stronger market. Even if you see from a designer standpoint, all their bigger stores are in Delhi. Um, their primary
Okay.
market is Delhi. Bollywood is driven by Bollywood. So what ends up happening is a lot of celebrities wear it, but it's the stylist making the celebrities wear the outfits. It's not really sales driven. That's them. That's the place where they market. Like a Bollywood star will wear something as their airport look, or at a film promotion, or at an award show, and then people across the country are going to see it and they're going to be like, oh, we really like this. Where did they get it from? They'll head over to their Instagram, find the design, and sort of maybe order it for themselves or get it custom made for themselves. So, in that sense, Bombay is a marketing tool. Delhi is the place where the sales happen in our country. Not in general, because you can sort of also include Chandigarh and Lucknow, Jaipur, Amritsar, Ludhiana. These are markets that sort of buy fashion more. Um,
Sustainable, really? I mean, yeah.
you're talking specifically in terms of sustainable fashion?
because we were talking about
Yes,
sustainable
so even
also.
with
So
maybe not all of the north, but sustainable fashion also in Delhi, you'd be surprised, is a very 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 big market.
yes, there is a very very select. Delhi is such a diverse city. I'm a
Yeah,
Delhi girl myself,
correct.
and the kind of sensibilities that was drawn for me, and my love for clothing is from the Tilonia Fair in Delhi.
Right.
From Shahpur Jat, and then from Hoskas when Bina Ramani had just started it. There was
Yes,
so much of Indian wear that was there. So I have always believed that in Delhi, we are driven by Indian fashion, which to me is one of the best forms of fashion.
correct.
Yeah, but I would imagine, because we were talking about sustainability, and we were talking about clothing that's not fast fashion. I wonder how large a market that would be in a city like in the cities that you mentioned. And I would be very happy to know if there is a growing segment there,
There
because
is a very
that's where the buyers are.
Yes, so there's a very, very strong market for sustainable fashion in Delhi as well. A lot of designers also have a very strong market for sustainable fashion internationally. They stock across the world, and I think that's going to become their A game in terms of sort of catapulting India on the global market. The designers are doing a fantastic job in India, whether you consider Bombay or Delhi or Bangalore, Pune, Hyderabad, any of the metropolitans, it's a very, very personal lifestyle choice, which is a very small percentage of people who are consciously converting to sustainability in as a 360-degree change in their wardrobe. A lot of people have certain elements of sustainable fashion, not a complete lifestyle change. So I think it's more of a personal choice between Delhi and Bombay. Um, and
But you're happy with this growing consciousness, right? That you see around you, because you'd be the best person, being in the industry that you're in. That you see. I mean, I'm very hopeful, and I'm really hoping that people do give designers who are minimalist, and they give them a chance, and they're willing to pay that kind of money. I mean, that to me is really a dream come true for India.
correct, and like one little example of this growth has been that earlier at a fashion week you would primarily have more couture, luxury, Pret, sort of designers who don't really do sustainable fashion. And then came a time where you would have like a designer or two who would showcase it, and to now where at Lakme Fashion Week you have a sustainable day. So out of the fashion week, one entire day is dedicated to sustainable fashion, where the entire a lot of designers are all sustainable fashion designers, and that just shows that there are so many, not only buyers but also so many designers who are risking their sales, but they want to do something which is ethically correct, and they're very conscious of the impact it's going to have, and are moving towards there. There's Mr. Prasad Bedappa also has a property called Rajasthan Heritage Week, where I've styled
Yes,
3 seasons of that, where weavers and karigars would get an opportunity to showcase.
which was such a
Yes,
wonderful initiative.
correct. And
Yes.
so that was a fashion week dedicated to sustainability. So, when you have more properties like this, when you have more platforms like this for designers to showcase their collection and for people to get aware of the same, I think everything begins with conversation. And I think that conversation has picked up a lot over the last couple of years. It's translating to a changing trend. It's slow. It hasn't picked up as much as we'd probably like, but we can definitely hope that it does sort of supersede any form of non-sustainable lifestyle, and it will not be a dialogue anymore, and it will become a part of what everyone does and everyone wears.
Oh, that's
But
I'm so hopeful
yeah,
when I hear
and
that.
it's so sad
Uh,
to even think that we have to talk about telling people to wear pure fabric. We have to talk about and tell people that the people who are making your clothes work in one room without a fan, and
oh
they work
gosh,
for
yes.
18 to 20 hours
You can
non-stop.
say that again and again,
Yeah,
Bharat. My heart bleeds, for the weavers in our country, and the kind of hard work that goes into even an ajrak print,
Yes.
the vegetable dyes that they make,
Yeah.
the way they make their colors. I mean, we are not even aware,
Right.
as an average Indian, what it takes to do that entire weaving.
Right.
So yeah, I'm so happy to hear that, and I really hope there are more platforms, once things open up, and we are in a better place to have shows,
Correct.
because at the end of the day, fashion also is so much about consumption through visual. Visually, when you see someone walking the ramp, or you see shows, it is it's an absolutely different experience. So coming back to beauty standards, I mean, talking from the perspective of a woman with long hair, straight hair, and makeup, metaphorically speaking, even today, I think people are talking about larger models also on
Yes.
on the ramp,
Yes.
and people are becoming more inclusive of sizes, and it's no longer that the model has to be extremely thin, because an average Indian woman will not have that sort of a body. We
Right.
are large hipped, we are we are built differently.
Correct.
So do you see a change? Because I don't know how many models really have a pixie haircut who's on the ramp. I don't know how many. I'm sure you would be able to throw light on this. It's essentially women with straight hair, and not even hair that is curly. Very few. I think there is Noyanika Chatterjee, who's amazing
Right.
looking. She's the one who carries her curls so elegantly, and she looks so sexy in that.
Right.
But do you think those standards are also changing today?
I think more than sustainability, the acceptance and diversity of appearance and look in fashion definitely has changed. Maybe not in entertainment, maybe not in our general life, but in fashion, they of course have. To explain it a little better, what has happened is that the international fashion and modeling industry has opened up a lot to the Indian face. In that sense, they don't what is the standard fair and lovely sort of an Indian look that we've been preaching for years at end. That is not what the international market associates India with. They associate.
But Bharat, in India, we still are stuck with the fair and lovely models, because all the models who have, angular faces, who are dark complexion, really go out and do well in international markets. In India, I'm talking about India. Do you see any shift there when it comes to beauty standards?
There is. In fashion, there is. I did a show last year for this brand called All, which is primarily for plus size curve models, where all of them, the 12 models that I taken in the show, were all curve models. FDCI last year for the Fashion Week, in their pool, made it compulsory to have a couple of curve models. There are a lot of girls who have curly hair, short hair, colored hair, straight hair. Girls from the Northeast are doing extremely well. Girls from the
Oh, they are
South,
absolutely
yes,
gorgeous.
girls from the South
The
are doing very
northeastern
well.
weaves and the yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
So that
yes.
diversity in that sense within fashion for the model face has changed a lot. A lot of designers look for very diverse faces, which sort of supports their interpretation of the outfit. Even when you see a lot of shows, when you see a lot of designer lookbooks, you will see the diversity in that sense. Again, see, the thing is that it's very unfair to question the selection of models for a designer, because they have a vision of their own, they have a story of their own. If they sort of pick up they pick up fabric and a design story from Kashmir, so then their models will have to represent a certain look where they look Kashmiri. When someone sort of does a shoot in Kerala, and they get inspired by the beauty of God's own country, then you pick those sort of models. So in that
But I
sense,
wish that would change, Bharat. I wish there would be more diversity. I would really like to see a Kerala model wearing a Feran, which is from Kashmir, and that's where I think probably also change needs to come in. Is my
I feel it has. Personally, I
yeah.
feel it has.
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of change. A lot of models are getting a lot of work. A lot of what people would demarcate as fair girls and wheatish girls and dusky girls. I've been to a lot of castings. I've personally done a lot of casting for a lot of models where they don't really have a prerequisite of a skin color, but yes, in commercial jobs it does. when you talk about TV commercials, or when you talk about digital ads, or when you talk about that sort of commercial jobs, then you still get those standard messages looking for a cute college fair girl who has an upmarket rich look. You still get those messages. That is sad. That is a sense that needs to, that's a typecast that needs to be broken. But when it comes to just pure fashion or editorial, there I think acceptance has changed. We have a lot of trans models. We have a lot of models from the LGBTQ community at large. And Sabyasachi has models who sort of have such diversity. He has a curve model. He has a model from the LGBTQ community. He has a thin boy, a dusky boy, a bearded boy, a fair girl, a large girl, a thin girl. So, his campaign in that sense represents diversity. Gaurav Gupta did a show right now at India Couture Week called Name is Love, where he again 8 to 10 models from all walks of life. So I think it's become it's no more just a dialogue. It's actively incorporated. Maybe to the common eye, you see commercials more than fashion, because in India we're more commercially driven, probably in that sense. So therefore, maybe it gets missed out, but fashion is consciously making that effort.
Tell me about your performing arts, the beginning of your career with performing arts. When did you get into this? And then the shift into being a stylist. What was the inspiration? Where did that change happen? And what would you like to tell stylists who are, from smaller towns in our country, who do not even have an access? How is it that they were to go out and if they were pursuing a career, in styling, or, in becoming a stylist as a profession, what would you like to tell them? And tell me a little about your performing arts journey.
So you're from Delhi yourself. So
Yes.
basically, because you're from Delhi, you will know that the career opportunities or options that you see in that sense are, people perceive a good profession to be an engineer or a doctor or a chartered accountant. So
Absolutely.
you have 4 5, and you have those 4 5 options, and once you become one of those, you have, in quotes, you're ready to settle down. So
Yes.
that was the case. I come from a family where most of 70 to 80% of my family members are chartered accountants. The remaining 30% would either be engineers or doctors. And but my parents were very supportive in terms of creative arts and performing arts. I went to modern school, which again, as a school, really promotes co-curricular activities and sports. So I did theater for a very long time. And when I was in school, I did it with Faisal Al-Qazi, who is the son of Ibrahim Al-Qazi, one of the founders at
Yes.
National School of Drama. I finished my 12th grade, and a friend of mine wanted to join Shiamak Davar's dance classes, and I disliked dance with a vengeance. Even at a party, I would stand in a corner and judge anyone who moved their feet to the.
Oh, you are the judgy
Yeah, yeah, I
Deliite.
was the judgy Deliot, especially anyone who danced. So she wanted to join Shamak's classes after the 12th board exams, that gap when you're waiting for your board result to come. And I said, I'm not going to do it. I hate dancing at a party. What am I going to do with 30 monkeys jumping in a dance studio? So then she was like, just come, just come. She paid for me. I went for the class, and she got unwell after 2 classes. So she had to drop out, and she said, listen, I've paid for 2 people. I'm not doing it. You have to attend these classes. And I went for the first 2 classes. It was fun. There were like these two enthusiastic instructors who were like really energetic and, making, and the workout was also great. So that's why I enjoyed the workout bit more than the dancing bit. And then, when you're dancing in a class, and I didn't like dancing, I'm standing in the third line, and that instructor says, okay, you come forward. And then you start feeling good about yourself. And cut to when we had that.
Your
Yes.
confidence
And
levels
then you
increase.
feel that, okay, maybe I'm good at this. And then cut to the final performance, and Shamak had come down, and he gives these prizes to a couple of dancers per class. And then they announced my name, and I was like, hey, okay, now not only am I good at it, I also got awarded for it. So then I was like, okay, not bad. And then when the next batch was coming, and my friend was like, okay, are you going to rejoin? And I was like, yeah. And then she's like, okay, join with me. So I was like, yuck, I'm not going to do beginners again, because I'd already moved to the next step. So then she joined alone in the beginners, and I had joined that batch. And a couple of classes later, I got a call saying that you're shortlisted to perform at the Commonwealth Games in Melbourne as a part of Shamak's dance troupe. I think that's where the jump happened. I was always interested in performing arts because of the theater, the dramatic background. But the 20 days I spent in Melbourne with Shamak and his team, that sort of made me realize that this is what I want to do, or this is something that I want to do for the rest of my life, or for the next few years. And I came back and I told my parents, and then they said, but again, Delhi parents being Delhi parents. And I think that was very smart of them. They said, yes, you can do it, but you have to finish your graduation and post graduation. We will not choose for you. You do what you have to, but you have to finish both of these things, because again, dance is a physical activity, right? If you, God forbid, you
Yes,
injure yourself, what do you do then? So
exactly.
I used to love economics. So I did economics honors from Delhi University, and then I did masters in journalism and PR. And once I finished this, Sharma called me to Bombay, and I moved to Bombay, and I started dancing there. He has an NGO called Victory Arts Foundation, where they basically use dance as therapy. And I started teaching kids who had cerebral palsy, who were HIV and AIDS infected, affected, who were deaf and mute, who were blind, who came from lesser privileged backgrounds. And then it gave me a stronger sense of why I'm doing this. Then I started working with Shamak. I started handling PR for him, marketing communications, and I eventually became a celebrity manager. And I did this for about 8 years. And during this time, I met Prasad Bidappa at one of his Model Unlimited contests, model hunts, and he had come to Bombay, and Shamak was one of the judges. My mom and my sister are very fashion driven, so I've always grown up in a house where shopping and fashion and getting ready has been a thing. I think I was probably 8 or 9 where I could tie a sari on another person very easily, which till now models get shocked at. Like I think a minute.
How
Yeah, so
wonderful.
it takes me a minute and a half to tie a sari with proper pleats and pinning. So it was due. It was. I think I knew I was eventually going to get to fashion, but I think there are certain things that lead you to where you have to be, and I think dance and performing arts sort of led me to this, and um, and then that's when fashion happened for me.
How wonderful. Thank you so much, Bharat. You are wonderful. You give hope to so many people, who often are very scared to change their path in their life. And, your story is going to really inspire youngsters sometimes when they're confused about what they should do. We begin by thinking that, this is one career you need to pursue for the rest of your life. And then life just changes. Life throws different experiences and you evolve. So I think it's fantastic, and it's so good to know that you've also taken your performing arts for people who has probably benefited in so many ways that they probably will not be able to express to you. So you are to me the new age Indian man, and thank you so much for being on my show. And if there's one thing that you'd like to tell the readers, the listeners, one thing that you'd like to tell the listeners, please share that. And where can my listeners find you? Please share your social media handles.
Sure. Firstly, thank you, Mahua, for having me on this show. And I had a great time interacting with you. I think the strongest weapon all of us have is our voice. And the need as human is to be heard. So I think if people hear this and they get inspired, and even a few or one or some lives can sort of get inspired to make a change in themselves, it'll be great. To the listeners, this pandemic has sort of taught us that we don't have control over anything except ourselves, our body, and our mind. So take time out for nurturing your soul, your spirit, to controlling your thoughts and your mind, and to taking care of your body, because your body houses your mind and your spirit. So take care of yourself, be good to yourself, don't chase, don't run away from yourself and towards something which is uncertain. So if you're very sure of what you want to do today, do that today. If you want to do something else tomorrow, do something else tomorrow. But eventually, if you sleep feeling happy about what you did, if you sleep feeling that your family is going to be proud of you and that you will be proud of yourself, do that. No one governs what makes you happy. You govern what makes you happy. And for the listeners, you can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is at Bharat, that's Bharat, G for Goa, the letter G, 18. So that's Bharat G18.
Thank you, Bharat, still at 18. Look forward to having you once again on the show. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.